Welcome, 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 everybody. Episode 165 of Altadena Talks. And it's Tuesday. So Toni has some special guests going on. So as usual, I'm going to pop off. Brian's going to be on later. I'm going to hand it over to Toni so she can make her introduction of herself and her guests. And stay tuned for a good show.
Thank you. Thank you. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the Toni Talk Show. Welcome to the Altadena Talks podcast. We're excited you're here today. It's episode, can you believe it, like 165 already. We will have knocked out 200 by the end of this year for sure. So super excited that all of you are here. And I have some special guests with me today. I have Ian Bishop and Josh Wheatley. Is it Wheatley, Josh? Wheatley. I'm sorry. Wheatley. I have some friends whose last name is Wheatley, so I confuse that. Wheatley from Homebound on the show with us today. And really excited. I met Ian a week and a half ago at a Builders Expo and learned a lot about what Homebound does. And, for Altadena Talks and as Altadenians, everyone knows we're super protective of our community. And you guys know I vet people and that I'm not going to bring anybody on the show that is only trying to come in and just build to make money off of Altadena. So after speaking with Ian, I was like, okay, I think I'll bring you on. Because Ian didn't lose a house to fire like I did, or we did, Altadenians did, but, I should say not I, but my family. But Ian has experience with the natural disaster and total loss like we have experienced in Altadena. So because of that connection, I felt like, okay, he understands some, and let's bring him on. So I'm going to bring on Ian first. He's just going to tell who he is, a little bit about himself, and then we'll go to Josh. But Ian, make sure you tell what your connection would be as far as a disaster and loss like this.
Yeah, absolutely. And thank you so much for having us on today, Toni. So in October of 2017, there was a really bad wildfire in Northern California called the Tubbs Fire. It swept through the town of Santa Rosa, neighboring Sonoma and Napa, and it was about 6,000 structures that were lost. One of my co-founders at the company lost a home in that fire. And as she started to go through the rebuilding process, she got very frustrated because, it was really disjointed. There was lots of changes in legislation and, what the jurisdiction was accepting. There was a huge shortage of labor and materials. And so eventually she said, I'm either going to start a company to make this better for folks, or I'm going to sell my lot and walk away. At the time, I joined the company because I was really interested in the construction space and I wanted to see what I could do to help in the Northern California area. And ironically, about a year later, my parents actually lost a house in Hurricane Dorian in the Bahamas. And so Homebound mobilized to the Bahamas as well, and I helped rebuild my parents' house. So firsthand, I've got experience going through what it takes to deal with insurance, architecture, getting a permit, building, and all the complicated logistics that go along with it. And so, Homebound has been around since 2017, and we've helped folks rebuild after the Tubbs Fire, the Woolsey Fire in Malibu, the Glass Complex in Santa Cruz, the Marshall Fire in Colorado, Hurricane Ian in Fort Myers Beach. So we've done this a number of times, and we are really excited to be in Altadena and the Palisades and really are focused on helping people rebuild as quickly and as effectively and efficiently as possible.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's super important because we can relate, right? When it comes to the frustration, when it comes to, oh, here's this regulation, and we've gotten things waived, whether it's fees or, whatever, but things are in place. And I think that there should be an overall roadmap within counties, cities, and states that are there as a backup plan and a ready to go plan when there's a disaster like this, right? Because we do know about Paradise Fire, we do know about the Tubbs Fire, we do know about Lahaina, and we're having to learn from people like Homebound or After the Fire. But somebody has to say, we need to have this in place so that should this ever happen, whether it's a fire, a flood, a hurricane, or whatever, boom, we're ready to go, right?
Yeah.
And we know immediately, as soon as the governor or whomever declares a state of emergency, then we now have this plan in place and we can waive the fees. We can, go over the hurdles this way. The things that are normally in place, there should be something for contingencies and for emergencies to happen. So thank you for sharing that. I do want to bring Josh on before we get deep into the weeds because I already know this is going to be a great conversation. So, Josh, please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about you and how you became part of Homebound.
Sure. No, I appreciate that, and thanks for having me on as well. I'm a fourth generation home builder. I grew up in the trades and was fortunate to go to USC to learn construction management and urban planning. And I've been in the Southern California markets for a little over 20 years now, building homes and giving families places to live.
Nice. Awesome. So I heard you said you went to USC. That's tragic because, UCLA is really the better one.
Here we go.
But look, I didn't go to UCLA, but I'm a major Bruins fan, right? But I worked at SC for years. And so the employees that were either alumni or fans of UCLA, they would call us Brojans because Bruins, but we
Love
worked
that.
at SC, so we combined it. So I'm a former Brojan, but no, it's all good.
I love that.
I'm a razz you anyway, just
Please
because.
do.
You guys had a heck of a game the other day.
Yeah. It's going to be an interesting season. That's all I'll say.
Very. Both of us lost, if I'm not mistaken. But because the
Well,
Bruins lost.
I'm a lowly Colorado Buffalo, and we joined the team of first week losers, unfortunately.
Oh, you're a Buffs fan. Cool.
I'm a Buffs fan. Yeah.
So with that, Josh, I know fourth generation home builder, all that, that's great. But have you ever responded in rebuilds to disasters? Because if you've been in SoCal, right, for a while and building fourth generation, but building for over 20 years, that's awesome because you have great connections with people all throughout the trades. You can probably have some good deals, come in, and then you know what to do if there's a shortage of labor, which there is right now, obviously, because of what we see with deportations and things like that. But have you ever had to respond firsthand to a disaster like a fire, a flood? We know things happen in California and SoCal. So what has your experience been with that, or has there been?
Yeah, no, you're right to highlight. I don't have any firsthand disaster response. I had a fire in the laundry room of my home when I was 7 years old that burned my favorite stuffed animal, and that was impactful and tragic.
Yeah.
But no, I've not faced or dealt with a tragedy like this personally. But I do bring a lot of experience and skill sets to rebuild, and I'm excited to put those skill sets to use in such a noble cause and a worthy endeavor.
Yeah, super important because
It is.
I mean, you do have some connection to fire. Like you said, it was impactful. It was traumatic. It was when you were at 7, but it's something that will never leave you, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe it wasn't your entire house, your entire town, your schools, your church, all of that, right? But that will never leave you. We know that trauma really will never leave. It can store in the body and recall and give you the PTSD, whatever later. But there is you understand it, right? And then you understand that we've got families that are generational up here in Altadena that have lost everything that their great grandmother or great was able to purchase in maybe the 20s or 30s or 40s or whatever, and those homes are gone. And we've got families that lost homes, and the children also lost their school. So they had to be double impacted. This year, they're over at another school somewhere that's not theirs. They had to go, in January to another school for that last semester prior to summer. And some of them are sharing campuses with schools, right?
Yeah.
And so now it's like, oh, now I got to meet all these new people. There's all these different rules. And what they tried to do in Pasadena was, even if you shared a campus, your school was still your school. And that school was still that one. Recesses were different times, all of that, because that's a lot for even an adult to lose everything. But as a child, to not only lose everything, your home and all of that, but then your school and have to be, somewhere else I can't imagine it at my age. I just can't imagine it.
I agree. The impact on the children is so meaningful. And I think it just highlights how critical it is that we respond with urgency and really leverage the ability to build quickly to get people in homes and back to their life as soon as possible.
Yeah, thank
And
you.
Josh is being very modest about his experience here. He's led the building operations for large home builders in Southern California, like Toll Brothers and Tricon, and across California and Texas. And one of the things that Homebound really tries to do whenever we mobilize to a market is to hire very deep expertise in that market. And so, you can sort of view it in the people that run the local markets for us. In Southern California, it'll be Josh leading the construction operations side of the house. Jenna Sullivan, who was previously in the city of Malibu permitting offices, runs all of our pre-construction efforts. Jennifer Lincourt has sat on the purchasing council in LA for over 20 years. And so we've already assembled a team that, while this may be their first time responding to a disaster in the local area, they have very deep experience in construction and complicated logistics, which is really the most critical component in rebuilding at this magnitude. So what Homebound has done is essentially brought together a group of experts from real estate, construction, and technology. And we use those people that we pull together and the software platform that we've written to allow us to build homes at scale in a scattered urban environment, which is it's a complicated endeavor. There are a lot of builders out there that can build 3, 4, 5 houses a year with sort of very individual hands-on management of each home. And the other end of the spectrum, you have large production home builders like Lennar and DR Horton and Toll Brothers and Brookfield that can build thousands of houses, but they're typically in a master plan community where the logistics are complicated, but less complicated because you're sort of row building everything in a sequence. And so what Homebound is doing is trying to marry together the capabilities of a scattered infill builder and the capabilities of a large production builder, stick those things together to help us rebuild a huge number of homes with sort of the economies of scale of a large production builder, but the nimbleness of a scattered infill builder.
And then what do you guys do when it comes to infrastructure? And the reason that I asked that, so I don't know if you know what our numbers are. I'm sure you've heard them, but 9,800 structures in Altadena. That includes cars, ADUs, garages, homes, commercial buildings, schools, churches, all of that, right? The total is 9,800. Of that, I think the number went down from 6,200 homes to something like 508,000 something. Anyway, right around there. Somewhere between them there and 6,200. But we have infrastructure issues. Like, we know that Edison immediately started putting poles back up, right? Where they could have immediately started going underground, which would have been much better, but they didn't. And there's like, over on the east side of Altadena, they were doing 2 miles. Now I think they said they're doing 9. And it's like, but you put up these power poles that have transformers that can blow like they always do, right? When something happens, when you could have been able to put them underground. So that was one infrastructure issue. SoCal Gas turned off gas lines, did what they had to do. And for people that are rebuilding now and have their permits, they can, connect to the gas lines, they can connect to the power. There's still some issues with water because we have 3 water companies in Altadena and they're all private. So Lincoln Avenue has been up and running for a while. Rubio Canyon is back up and doing what they need to do. But the one in the middle, which was Los Flores, which covers a large path, I think they have not reopened yet. And I know there was a meeting, they said on Monday, maybe it was last Monday. I've got to talk to somebody or sometime during the week and I've got to get follow up because we don't know if Los Flores is going to be able to come back. It's a much older one. And so now it's like, are the other 2 going to purchase it, split it? Are they all going to collapse into one? There's all these discussions. So when it comes to infrastructure issues like that, like water or whatever, what is it that you can do and bring to Altadena to help us with that? Even if it's expertise to go and sit in meetings or whatever, what is it that Homebound can do in situations like that?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think one of the things that's important to note is that there are very stark differences between residential construction, which is what we do, and then the commercial and infrastructure side that the public utilities or private utilities need to do. With that being said, I've sat in dozens of town hall meetings over the last 10 years talking about what the recovery plan is. I think the point you're making about overhead versus underground power lines is a very important one. And, look, I was in Malibu the day after the fires happened, and I saw, power poles being dropped by helicopter and things like that. And I think people are so focused on speed and cost efficiency that that's the route that folks typically go, because overhead versus underground is much faster and much less expensive. It doesn't make it the right decision, but I think just out of necessity, people do it to just sort of move quickly. So I think what we can do in Altadena is really be an advocate for our customers. I think, look, we've done this 7 times now, so we understand what the arc of recovery looks like for a community. Nobody who was impacted by this fire planned on it happening. Nobody elected to rebuild this house. And so you're dealing with an absolute, just tsunami of information and decisions that have to be made. And really the role that Homebound wants to play in this is we need to let the public utilities and private utilities focus on what they're good at. We need to focus on the piece we're good at, which is helping our customers rebuild on the residential side, but being an advocate for them throughout the process. And so if folks have questions, our project managers and customer support team are available to help answer those questions. We have an in-house legal team that can help put together documentation if necessary for people to talk to the public utilities. But our goal is to really focus on the things that we do best to help with our lane of the recovery. And that's really helping customers understand their insurance policy to get to a financial feasibility picture for their rebuild. We do architecture and design, we permit, and then we build the house and hold the warranty on it. Everything around that, we're happy to be an advocate for, and we're happy to share the knowledge and information we have, but we really want to focus on the pieces that we do in order to, move the rebuild forward as quickly as possible.
And what does your warranty look like? I heard you just say that, right? Once you have given someone their keys and their certificate of occupancy,
Yep.
What does a homebound warranty or follow-up or relationship look like after you've gotten to that space?
Yeah, it's a really good question. So our warranty today is 1 year bumper to bumper. So basically any workmanship things that occur inside the house. There's 2 years for MEP, that's mechanicals, electrical, and plumbing, and then 10-year on structural. So we hold a warranty and offer a warranty to our customers that's included in your construction contract that's very competitive with what the biggest, largest home builders in the country will offer. We have a full in-house customer experience and warranty team. And we also have an online platform that we call HOP, the homeowner platform. And so through your online login, you can come in, you can see all the information about your house. If there's ever an issue in the 10 years after the home is constructed and you get your certificate of occupancy, you can log into that website. You can message directly with our team of warranty folks. And then Josh's team on the ground will actually be the ones to address any issues that come up. So it's a great advantage in a new construction home versus, resale home where you're buying something that's existing as is. When you buy from a builder like Homebound, you're getting a 1, 2, 10 warranty on your house.
Okay. Josh, chime in. Tell me more about what your team does. Meaning like you're dealing with permitting, you're dealing with issues with permitting, you're dealing with, all of that. Tell me what that process looks like for your team and what you all are doing or will do to help.
Yeah, happy to elaborate. So, once a resident starts their journey with Homebound, we'll work with them to finalize the plans and specifications for the home, facilitate permitting of the home. We'll reach out and procure the trade partnerships necessary to build the home. Just typically 35 to 40 different trade partner agreements that we manage. And then we'll manage the home throughout the construction process, up to and including turnover to the resident to ensure that they move into their place in a home that meets our standards and expectations, but also as quickly as humanly possible.
So tell me about the different technologies, because as you know, we have to have hardscaping, right? We've got to have these almost fireproof homes. Nothing is going to be fully fireproof, but tell me about what technology Homebound is utilizing. Because we were a community of sticks, right? We had all old stick builds, which is not necessarily the best route to build back. We know that there's steel studs. We know that, yes, there are some builders that don't know anything about new technology and will only do another stick build. And that's, okay. And if people are of the mindset that that's all I want, tell us if somebody goes with a stick build, how is that home hardened? Meaning like, I want to know about the studs that are put in, right? Are they fully dipped? And again, I'm saying fireproof, but we know that nothing is fully fireproof, right? But we know with the regulations, there can't be open eaves where fire can get in underneath. So tell me more about that aspect, because I think that people want to hear exactly what Homebound is utilizing or what they offer that would cause somebody to say, let me call them and see, what they can do for me.
So there's a couple of different ways to think about this. At the base offering, you have your building code, and building code has evolved a lot since the day that the previous homes were built. And so you will see a lot of upgrades just in the base offering because our knowledge of construction and, to your point, the technologies and means and methods have evolved a lot since the 40s, 50s, and 60s when a lot of these residences were built. So I don't want people to hear stick building and think that that's a bad thing. There's actually a lot of ways to harden a home and make it more fire resilient and still stick frame, which is a very cost effective and fast way to build. So base code is something to think about. Then you also have the high risk fire areas. You have the wildfire urban interface areas, which have different hardening requirements. What Homebound is doing is we're actually building to a standard called IBHS Wildfire Prepared as our base offering, which is above and beyond.
Hold on. Because I want Jamal or somebody to put that in the chat. IBHS.
Yep. Wildfire Prepared.
Okay, because I'm going to look it up, and I can just tell you in the background, my guys are looking it up.
Yep.
And IBHS Wildfire Prepared Home Certification. Okay, so go slowly and explain what that is so people can understand, please.
Okay, so IBHS is the Insurance Institute for Business and Home Safety. And basically, this is a place where the insurance industry and the construction industry start to come together and collaborate. And so the updates that were recently made to the IBHS Wildfire Prepared Standards are designed to make it easier for an insurance company to underwrite the house because the house has more defenses against wildfire.
Got it.
So there are a lot of things in here that are included in your normal building code, but they're upgrades above and beyond that building code. So we'll sort of start at the top of the house and work our way down. So all Homebound homes will use a grade A roofing material. That doesn't mean that it has to be metal or ceramic tile or something like that. There are asphalt shingles that are fire rated as a grade A roofing material. And so with Homebound, we will offer 5 plans. Every plan has multiple elevations. Each elevation has a different roofing style, but when you're buying a Homebound house that it is getting a grade A roofing material that is up to par for the IBHS Wildfire Prepared Standard. It could be on our Spanish elevation tile, on our Craftsman elevation, it could be a shingle. There are options where there will be standing seam metal roofs. So there's lots of different options, but they are all to that standard. So some of the other things that you mentioned that are important, the non-combustible siding. So all of our siding has to be fire rated. It has to be non-combustible. That's true for siding. It's true for decks. It's true for fence materials, but it's just a standard that's above and beyond. And so one of the advantages for customers that work with Homebound is we actually build thousands of houses a year across the country. And as we build those houses, we get economies of scale when we're buying materials from manufacturers. And so we're able to offer these upgraded materials at a very competitive rate to customers. And it's mainly because of our economies of scale. Windows is another place that happens. So we have to have fire rated windows, tempered glass that can withstand the heat. There's a number of things that come in about, your eaves and your gutters and making sure that they are all, capped and sealed. Embers can't get in, things like that. There's also a lot of things about defensible space around the building. And so when we're doing our hardscape and landscaping, it's critical to maintain that 5 to 30 foot defensible space around the house so that there's less chance for the fire to jump from a neighboring house to this house. And so I think it's important to understand that IBHS has the prepared standard, which will be our base offering. There is also the IBHS Wildfire Prepared Plus, which is a further upgrade. Now, there is cost associated with that. And so we're not doing that as our base offering. But when a customer comes and they work with Homebound and they're going through the plan selection process, if they want to move to the Wildfire Prepared Plus standard, it's a toggle. They turn it on. They can see the price difference in our online configurator, and that will tell you what are all the additional features you get by going to IBHS Wildfire Prepared Plus. I'm getting a little bit ahead here, but I want to say it because I think it's important for people to understand. Your
Absolutely.
insurance proceeds are not necessarily designed to get you an IBHS wildfire prepared or prepared plus house. So
Mhm.
Homebound has worked very hard to understand what are the payouts that our customers are receiving, and then can we make IBHS wildfire prepared fit in that insurance proceed. And right now, we are very encouraged by where we're seeing pricing because we think that should be possible for the vast majority of people. The upgrade to Prepared Plus will probably be above and beyond what customers' insurance proceeds are. That doesn't necessarily mean that you have to come out of pocket to pay for it all at once. We have a few partnerships in the works right now that will offer grants and loans that can help people get to the IBHS Wildfire Prepared Plus standard. So for anybody who's interested in learning more about that, our sales and support teams are happy to talk people through it.
Okay, thank you. That's important, especially for Altadena, because people need to know that there are options. One thing I did hear you say, and I want to ask you, because we don't want to look like a cookie cutter community, because we've never been.
Yep. Yep.
You know, Altadena may have something ultra modern, we had the John's cottages, you know, on the west
Yeah.
side, they're gone. A lot of them, we had, you know, Spanish tile, we had mid-century modern, you name it.
Mhm.
And so nobody wants to have the exact same look. They want to do
Mhm.
what they want. So I heard you say something about we have 5 plans people can choose from. But what
Mhm.
if people look at the plan and go, no, I don't like that. I want to modify it,
Mhm.
or I want to work with you. Do you do custom designs where you go back and forth with the customer until it's
Yep.
exactly what they want and then use the standards?
Yeah, so it's a very good question. So when we started the company, we were truly just a custom home builder. And
Okay.
the challenges for us with just being a custom home builder is it's very difficult to get to cost efficiencies and time efficiencies where every single build is bespoke. And so we are what you would call a semi-custom home builder. What
Got it.
that means is that we do have 5 floor plans, but each floor plan also has structural options that you can choose from that change the look and feel and layout of the house. Every
Okay.
one of those floor plans has exterior styles. And so those styles are developed specifically for Altadena. So we do have a James Cottage, we do have a Craftsman, we do have a Spanish Contemporary. And in the new year, we'll also be launching a mid-century modern and a California bungalow. So there'll be 5 elevations or exterior styles that customers can choose between. And then within each of those styles, there are also many color and texture schemes. So
Mm-hmm.
even though Homebound only offers 5 floor plans, there are actually thousands of permeations of homes that you can choose from. I talk with our founder all the time, and one of the things we say is we don't necessarily want a customer to drive down the street and say, "Oh, that's a Homebound house" because of the way it looks. We want
Right.
the customer to drive down the street, talk to the resident, and say, "Ah, that's a Homebound house" because of what that customer's experience was like rebuilding that house. So I hear you loud and clear. We don't want to be a cookie cutter builder either, and no community wants to go from its unique character to looking like a very monotonous community after the fact. But we're also trying to balance speed and cost with it. So in exchange for some fewer choices, you will get lower cost per square foot to rebuild with. And from the day you put a shovel in the ground to the day you move in, Homebound's committing to building those houses inside of 8 months. So you will also get homes that are built much faster because we have put together a more constrained offering.
Okay, now I have a question because I'm on your website.
Mhm.
And it only has, and I know you said they're coming. It has
Mhm.
Houston, Dallas, Boulder County, Denver,
Mhm.
Southwest Florida, Tampa coming soon.
Mhm.
But if I'm watching this show today and I decide, okay, they said Homebound, let me go to this.
Mhm.
I don't see anything under a home that starts at $1 million. I
Yep.
have Houston, Dallas, and Denver say 1 million. Southwest Florida, Boulder County says 2 million. Tampa says starting at 0
Mhm.
because it's coming soon.
Yep.
If my insurance gave me $750,000 for my home that burned down, I'm
Mhm.
going to instantly not even think about doing an about us or a contact form because you don't have anything that fits my budget.
Yep.
So
So
how
you
do you guys
are,
work around that? Because that would
yeah.
scare some people, right?
Absolutely. So I think you are on our non-rebuild markets page. So there's
Right.
another drop down on that website that says rebuild markets, and it shows LA, Fort Myers Beach, and Boulder County. So we have not
How do
released
we
our
get to
plans.
that page?
It's
Oh,
on
go to
the
rebuild markets. Okay,
Yep.
now I see it. All right.
Yep. So if you hit Los Angeles, so we
Uh-huh.
will be releasing our pricing at the end of September, but I can give some early indications of that here today.
Okay.
Because essentially all those other homes that you saw, that's places where we're selling land and construction.
Got it.
In the Los Angeles area, either Palisades or Eaton fire areas, we are selling construction as a service, not a
Okay.
home as a product.
Okay.
So sorry, it's a little confusing on the website.
No,
Maybe it's better that
I'm
Brian,
glad
he
that
can
I
pull
went
up the
there
yeah.
and could ask the question, right? Because again, I try to
Yep.
think of somebody who's watching this and here's Homebound and would go
Yep.
to it. And I would be
Yep.
like, oh, they don't have
Yeah. What do we
anything
do?
that would help me. And literally,
Yep.
we've had people told it's going to
Mhm.
cost you $1.5 million to rebuild. And they're like, my insurance is giving me 7. So now I have no choice but to sell because I can't rebuild
Yep.
or I don't know what to do. So that's just based on feedback that we've heard over the months, the 7, 8
Yep.
months now, 8, 9 months now.
Mhm.
That's why those questions come up where I want to say them to you so that you can publicly say, whatever it is that
Yep.
you all wind up doing.
Absolutely. Brian, if you're able, do you want to pull up that presentation to slide 9?
Thank
Perfect.
you.
And if you want to go to the slideshow mode, it might make it easier. There we go.
Thanks,
Okay, so I'll
Simone.
talk a little bit about what we offer. So there are 5 floor plans, but you can see on our smallest floor plan here, this is plan 1. It's between 1,227 square feet up to 1,386 feet. So that's because of the structural options that a
Mhm.
customer can select. And then down below, you'll see these are elevation styles. They don't have the color choices on here yet. But if a customer had a Jane's Cottage previously and they want to be in a Jane's Cottage, they would start by selecting the plan that A, fits their lot, and B, they have to make a determination of would they like to be a like for like permitting process, or are they trying to maximize the FAR on their home site? And so you start by picking the floor plan based on the lot and the permitting requirements, and then you pick your exterior elevation and colors, and then you pick your interior spec level. So we have an essential, a deluxe, and a premium interior spec level offering, which is really just setting a price point of what the inclusions on the inside are. And then within that price point, there's a lot of color and texture choice that a customer can make to make the house their own. And so in all of our rebuild markets, like I say, we're selling construction as a service. So when you go through and you make those selections, we'll tell you, here's the cost per square foot that your home is going to be. And then we contract that at a fixed price. So there's no risk for a customer that, we have some material cost escalation or something happens in the market. Once you've signed that contract, it's an extended fixed price contract to the customer. And the only way that price can change is if the customer themselves elects to make a change to the house before we start construction.
That's good to know, because we've heard that people are saying, oh, it was this, but now we've got to add this. So now it's, all these thousands, like a lot more. So, and it's scaring people.
Yeah. Actually, maybe if we go up to slide 5 for a moment, I can talk just a little bit about what our solution is. So, like, the biggest challenges with rebuilding after a natural disaster today, like, number one is architecture and build cost alignment. There are thousands of architects who are super talented and really want to help in this effort. But when they're designing the house, they're oftentimes tied to what the cost to build was prior to the disaster, where there was more of a balance between supply and demand. So immediately after a fire, you can see a huge influx of demand, but supply is relatively static. And so that creates a big mismatch between what you're designing and the cost to rebuild it. Homebound does architecture and construction in-house. That means we plan, design, purchase, and build with real-time cost information between what we're designing and what we're receiving from our trade partners. Okay. The second thing is there's very complicated logistics. As I'm sure everybody's heard, lots of the concerns are access to labor. Where are we going to have a concrete plant? How are we going to lay down materials? How are we going to sequence buildings so that we don't have builders and trade partners parked on top of each other? One of the advantages for Homebound is that we've actually built a project management platform in-house. We have software developers on staff, and that technology at every step of the process allows us to optimize the logistics, the material allocation, the labor allocation across all of our projects. And right now, we're actually in talks with a few builder groups throughout the city of Los Angeles, both for Palisades and the Eden Fire areas, on how we can leverage our technology to help multiple builders, not just in-house.
Okay.
The next thing is unreliable estimates. You just mentioned, people are getting a price and then it's going up and up and up by thousands of dollars. That doesn't work when,
Right.
really the dollars you have to spend is your insurance proceeds and not a dollar more. And so we understand that firsthand. And that's why we offer inclusive and flat rate pricing. Before you sign your contract with Homebound, you will do a number of steps. You will do an insurance policy review with our ex-public adjusters that help you understand what your proceeds are. Then you'll do a site visit with our team where we'll look at exactly what's the access. Is there topography we need to worry about? Is there extra fill, more grading, things like that are necessary so that we can get to what the cost of the site work is, because a lot of the variation will come in the site work itself. And then finally, because we have sort of, master plan community and production home building experience, we're launching everything in cohorts and scaled building, which allow us to get a lot of efficiency. That's why our construction times are much shorter than your average builder. And so it's really important for us to make sure that all of these pieces work together so that we can give a very clear and consistent experience to our homeowners where we can remove a lot of the anxiety and confusion. And I'm sorry, I'm like jumping through this presentation a little bit, but if you want, we can flip to slides, 9 and beyond, because I can show a few more of the floor plans.
Yeah,
So we
please.
talked about plan 1. So plan 2 is slightly larger. It's 1561 to 1825, depending on structural options. It can be between 2 and 4 beds, depending on which choices you make, 2 to 3 baths. It's got a detached garage, but again, has those same exterior styles, and there are colors and finish levels behind those styles. Next slide, we've got plan 3. Plan 3 gets a little larger, 1979 to 2160. So plans 1, 2, and 3 are our single story plans that are really designed to help people fit within the like for like permitting process. Plan 4 and 5, we actually moved to our 2-story larger plans. And these are for customers that would like to maximize the buildable square footage on their lot. So it's really a determination for people of what is the most important piece to them. Is it, am I trying to get through my permit in, 30 or 60 days, or am I trying to do, the most economically viable thing on my parcel? And so we've developed a plan series that works for both of them. So plan 5 is our largest, gets up to just under 3,000 square feet. And so all 5 of these plans, the way that we developed them were we looked at every address that was impacted. We looked at the widths, the depths, the zoning codes and regulations. And then we said, okay, what's the sort of largest groupings of impacted properties and sizes? And so we have a plan offering that should work for about 85% of the lots that were impacted.
And then again, we see these, right? There's plans 1 through 5, but I don't want to look just like my neighbor, but they're going with you and they're going to use the same plan I'm using, but I do not, because we never looked alike, right?
Yep.
And I have a picture of my home and I would prefer it to look like what it was, right?
Yep.
So how can people do that? Like, is that where the semi-custom comes in? Like, this is the base plan, this is what the floor would look like, but if you want the front of the house or whatever to have a different aesthetic, because you don't want to look like your next door neighbor and we don't want to look like a planned community, how would that work?
Yeah, absolutely. So I think the first thing to note is that the likelihood of neighbors and neighbors and neighbors all selecting the same builder is pretty low, because you're going to have so many builders that are all building within the same community. But let's say they did. Let's say, your neighbor and you both chose to work with Homebound and you both wanted a plan 3 and you both wanted a Jane's Cottage. So you've gone almost all the way down the funnel and selected all the same things. When you get to that step of, okay, I want a Jane's Cottage, you're now going to look at 7, 8, 9 different exterior schemes within the Jane's Cottage, where you'll be able to say, okay, well, theirs is a dark gray. I want a light gray. Theirs has a weathered wood accent. I want black accents. There's lots of different color and texture choices on the exteriors within the elevations. The other thing is, as you start to change spec level, like if one's a deluxe and one's a premium, the exterior lighting fixtures and things like that change as well. So even within the elevation, there's a lot of choice.
Okay. That's what I wanted to get those questions out for people that may not be asking them, or that might not be watching now, but may watch later, so that I want to hit on as much as we can. Let's see. I can't think of anything right now to ask you on that, but I don't know if you want to go through more of the presentation, or what do you think that is just really important information for the audience to know?
Look, I think the things that are most important is I sat in the shoes where most of folks are right now, and I know how overwhelming it can be. There are a subset of people that can grab the bull by the horns and get going really quickly. And if you're not one of those people, I don't think you should be super discouraged yet. I was telling Toni when I saw her at the expo a couple of weeks ago, I've heard from so many people that they're afraid that Altadena is not recovering as quickly. You guys are going very fast relative to what I've seen in other markets. I think people organizing and sort of making collective decisions and things like this podcast is an amazing way for the community to start making steps in the right direction. What we've seen in previous markets is that you may see a mad sprint in the beginning. There'll be a lot of people that are submitting for permits like later this fall as they've made selections on builders and things like that. I think as long as you're making selections and you're starting to get through to permitting by the end of the first quarter, middle of the second quarter of next year, you're going to be able to rebuild in time before your insurance ALE or something like that runs out. And I think the city is also doing a really good job at trying to process things quickly and remove red tape as much as possible. It's going to take some time. This is a very hard thing for everybody to absorb, whether you're a homeowner who lost a house or you're a building inspector or official who has to now process 10x the number of permits that they typically would in a year. So I don't want people to be very discouraged there. I saw we got a note in the comments that somebody was asking what's the process for a person to go through and work with Homebound. So it's very straightforward. We can put the website link up on the screen so folks can see where you sign up. But essentially, once the first conversation you get in touch with Homebound, we'll explain the process for customers. The idea is the first step is you sign a letter of intent. A letter of intent is a non-binding, no deposit required document, but it basically unlocks our team as a resource to our customers. And those customers, the first step that they'll do is an insurance policy review. So you'll sit with one of our insurance folks and they will look at your policy, your declarations page, and they'll help you understand what's included in your base coverage, what's included in your extended coverages, and how do we help you build a case to get into your extended coverages to give you the maximum amount of money to rebuild with possible. If there's still a gap, we can refer you to places where you can help improve your financial feasibility. That may be the SBA, it may be through FEMA. There are a number of different places you can look for additional grants to help you with the rebuilding process. And so we want the first step before anybody has to make any financial decisions is what's the picture and what's the guide? How do we sort of work our way through making those decisions? After that,
so we should refer people to the Homebound website, to that LA Fire Recovery, or exactly where do you want people to go if they want to contact you?
On that LA Fire Recovery page, that link that's on the page, if you fill in there your first and last name, email, phone number, and your address and hit submit, you will hear back from our team within 24 hours and they'll set up a time to talk through everything with you. And so we actually have a team of folks that can help talk to customers. And we actually have a few folks that are on the ground in Altadena as well. So if you want to do a site visit at your lot for the first meeting or something like that, we're happy to do that as well. But if you fill out that information, that is the right first step. And then we will be in touch within 24 hours.
And your people understand Altadena is totally separate from Palisades. We're not part of the city of LA. We are the county. We are an unincorporated city. So things are moving very differently for us than they are the people in Palisades.
Yes, absolutely. And to put folks at ease, we are working with 60 residents of Altadena already. So we have gone through this process a number of times.
Good.
Jenna, who unfortunately wasn't able to join us today, she is the person who is in the market with her finger on the pulse of exactly what's changing, where is rules changing, what legislation's changing. Toni, you heard her briefly at the Build Expo, but she is
Yeah.
our local permitting and jurisdiction expert, and so she knows exactly the nuances between the two. And so for folks to hear this, we are treating the two areas as completely different markets. It's entirely different
Good.
plan sizes, it's entirely different build costs. And that's all because when we design plan series to address a market, it's
Right.
done to match the aesthetic of what was there previously. And
Good.
we don't want Altadena to look like the Palisades or vice versa. They're totally different areas and
Totally.
totally different plan series.
And you know what? I'm really glad that you say Altadena, because we've had people come on the show and the guys laugh at me because people say Altadena. And I say, we're not all, A-L-L, we are Altadena. So even from the very beginning to hear you even, at the expo say it, I was like, okay, yeah, at least they're saying our town right.
Yeah.
But yeah, appreciate that,
So,
people want to clump it together and say the LA fires, and there are
yes.
two separate fires, the
Yeah.
Palisades fire and the Eaton fire, in two absolutely separate areas. And then there Malibu had fires too, but a lot of times people just want to clump us together, and we're not. So
Yeah.
I'm very appreciative that you all get that and know that
there are places where it has to be separate. It has to be separate on the builds, on the plans, on the build costs, all of the jurisdictions, the permitting process, all of that has to be separate. But I also want to point out that there are places where there are advantages when you talk about it together. It's helpful for everybody that we will be building hundreds of houses, not dozens of houses, because that will pull everybody's build cost down. If we're buying concrete and lumber and things like that at a scale, folks in both fires will benefit from the other because of the efficiencies and economies of scale that come from building at a larger scale. So I totally agree with you. They can't be treated the same, but I also want to make sure that people don't hear that as exclusively a negative. There is going to be benefits of folks working in both.
Now I do want to just, there's probably a question, but have a statement on this.
Yep.
When you say, and Josh, if you want to come off mute and chime in on this because you've been in the building arena for so long, we've heard people say, oh, somebody used the term co-op, but we're going to get things as a co-op, right? Meaning we're going to make sure we have all the same refrigerators, all the same toilets. And I'm like, why would you do that? Because if I don't want my house to look like yours, I don't want the same toilets you got. I don't want the same refrigerator you got. Like, I want to pick all my own stuff, right? So I hear you say that there are benefits, which is great when you buy more and you're buying in bulk. But does that also give the homeowner the opportunity to say, I want this KitchenAid refrigerator and this Bosch or this Kohler toilet versus this, right? Because once you build the structure, then you have to work with people for your interiors, and your designers do that or whatever. But what does that look like? Because we do hear people saying, oh, the more we buy in bulk, right? All the same manufacturer, or all the same refrigerator, all the same toilet, but it doesn't make you an individual at that point.
Yeah, I'm happy to provide a little color or context in that regard. I think it's important to take advantage of economies of scale to get the price point down on the affordability that's so critical to getting people back in their homes. You need to balance that with the personalization and the ability to customize the interior of the home to your liking. So while we may elect to work exclusively with Kohler for plumbing fixtures, and you may not be able to pick a Delta or a Moen plumbing fixture, Kohler has over a dozen plumbing fixtures that they offer. And in each of those fixtures, you have 3 or 4 metal finishes, right? So if we can't get comfortable with a dozen sinks with, 3 or 4 finishes, 36 different options on bathroom sink alone, then, we're not going to be able to get the efficiencies that we're seeking to make this a success. So there's a balance that you have to strike. And I think that's where it is. It's identifying the trade partners and suppliers that can offer a breadth of choice while still allowing us to construct in an efficient manner. And that's the balance that we're seeking.
Yeah, it makes sense, because just like your floor plans, right?
Mm-hmm.
They might all say, oh, these are all the Spanish, these are all the contemporary, or these are all the mid-century, and I didn't see any mid-century, but you might want to get some, because like the California bungalow or whatever, because Altadena has had several of those. So
those will both launch in January.
Yeah, as you expand those offerings, then you have, okay, this is plan 1, 2, 3, 4, but then level 1 or 2 or 3 of this plan. So that makes sense that it would be the same type of thing with, if you guys, the trade partner is Kohler versus Delta, because Kohler got some nice stuff. But anyway, if it is Kohler, that's why I said Kohler, because I've done some stuff in my house. And there is, even if you go to Home Depot, and you guys wouldn't, Home Depot or Lowe's, like a regular consumer, oh, I'm going to change this out. There's so many choices to choose from when you look at them. So that makes sense that you all, and Josh, what you do and have been doing for, 20 plus years, knows how to talk to and deal with those trade partners to still leverage and get the cost to what it needs to be, but have the affordability, but then the options for people as well, because that's super important.
Yeah, it really is. And, it's very similar to my experience in high-end production home building with Toll Brothers, where, buyers have very high expectations at all price points, and you want to accommodate those, but you also want to deliver on what you promised to deliver. And striking that balance is so critical. And I think there's a healthy amount of personalization and customization that we can offer, so people don't feel like they're moving into a cookie cutter home. We truly want them to feel like they've got a semi-custom personalized home that they're moving back into.
And they're going to be able to go through and make all of those selections with a Homebound designer sitting by their side. So it's actually really helpful. Like if you go in and you say, okay, great, I want to sign a contract for a Plan 2 Craftsman, and I want the deluxe interior package. Within that deluxe package, you'll be able to look at, okay, here are the 12 colors, here are the 3 different textures, here are all the things that I can make choices on. And in some cases, you may say, I actually want my kitchen to be more premium and I want my secondary bathrooms to stay at deluxe. You can upgrade items in the kitchen and go from, a tile backsplash to a stone backsplash or something like that. So there is a lot of option throughout the process to sit with the designer and make selections, so that house is truly personalized to your liking.
Yeah. Thank you. I know we're coming up close to time here, and I don't want to hold you all over, because you have 60 at least that you're dealing with in Altadena right now. And I want those people to get what they need from you all, right? But I really want to thank you, Ian, for mentioning the IBHS Wildfire Prepared Home, because we've had lots of builders on already, and I told you that, and I vetted them, but not one person has mentioned anything about IBHS. And that's when I said, hold on. It was almost like time out, flag on the play, because because you're it's natural. You rattled it off real quick, but that's why I was like, wait a minute, bring it back, slow it down. Let's talk through this so that people can understand. And then I put and then you talked about it, and there was a link that I went to, and I put it in our chat, our private chat, but it's for the IBHS, but people can look up IBHS Wildfire Prepared Home and the certification, and really look and see what that is and have a great understanding of what that is. Because when I was looking stuff up, I also saw this just came out in June that said IBHS released updated wildfire prepared home standard, right? Because we just had our fires. There's been fires on the East Coast. And so they're continuously, as these disasters happen, especially when it comes to wildfire, making the upgrades. And I want people to be able to say, okay, I looked it up and I read it for myself and I understand that. Because we've been doing this since January, and not once have I heard not one builder that has come on here mention IBHS. So I will be doing my own research a little bit more, because that's just who I am. I dig real deep on stuff and I really want to know. But I really want to thank you for bringing that up, because then that's just another area that our viewers can have the knowledge on their own and be prepared. So whomever they speak with or go with, they know what that means. Because what we're hearing is, well, you have to have home hardening. And people are like, okay, and CAL FIRE said these are the new rules, but this is something totally different. And it really helps us to understand exactly what it is. So thank you so much for mentioning that.
Of course, and it'll be important in the long run. Obviously, everybody experienced what happened with homeowners insurance after the 2018 fires in Malibu, and I'm sure folks have seen their premiums go up. And so IBHS is really trying to be a place for builders and insurance carriers to collaborate so that it is possible for people to get insurance that's not just the state-sponsored plan. It doesn't mean if you build to the standard, you're guaranteed to, get coverage or get a policy premium that you're happy with. But it is a way for you to say, I have gone and made selections that make my house more defensible than the house next door, and therefore I should get more options from an insurance perspective.
Yeah, and hopefully not get dropped, because that's the thing too. Everybody's like, oh, as soon as you rebuild, you're dropped. And I'm like, no, not necessarily. And they're like, oh, you're going to get the CAL FIRE plan. No, some insurance companies will continue with their people and not have your insurance 1,000 times higher than what it was, right? But we do know we have to have standards. But again, I had never heard this. And this tells me, it's making them more resilient to the disasters like hurricanes and high winds and fires and all that. So if we go and look, and I'm not even sleepy. I don't know why I just yawned. I apologize. And have this information, then that just makes it a lot more easy to understand. And then when you are giving someone their certificate of occupancy and their keys, are you also giving them one of these certifications that come from the IBHS? Because now this home is IBS certified, and they also have that.
So we are working through exactly what the documentation is at the tail end. I don't know exactly what it looks like, but what I can commit to right now is that our base offering will hit all of the requirements of the IBHS wildfire prepared package. There's some questions about, is there an inspection that needs to be done that we're working through the resiliency company and IBHS with just to get answers. But I will drop another link in the chat. There is a bunch of research that was done after the LA fires about creating ember resistant, the buffer around the home, and the fact that cuts the risk of igniting from a wildfire in half. In this document, there's actually it's kind of long, it's 90 minutes, but it's an online self-paced learning course for homeowners to go through where you can actually learn what all of this standard is. So I put the link in the private chat if you guys want to share it.
Thank you. That's super important, because as I'm looking, it says, what is an IBHS certification? And it literally refers to fortified home or fortified commercial designations. So if you rebuild and you go through someone who's able to get this for you for the fortified roof, the fortified, all of that, and you have an actual certified fortified home, I would assume, again, I'm not in the industry, but that insurance, if you have that fortified home certification, how could they justify raising your premium, 1,000 times or whatever? And I'm assuming that that's part of what this is. They want people to get wildfire prepared, have the fortified home, so that the insurance carrier will go, okay, you're a fully certified fortified home. There's no justifiable reason for us to say we're going to jump you or drop you afterwards, right? Because we know that your house will withstand, this type of disaster in the future or whatever. So that's really good.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Perfect. And then this fortifiedhome.org is where I went. Oh, that's where you are now, huh? No, you're on Wildfire Prepared, but there's a link from that IBHS that goes to fortifiedhome.org that just talks about what a fortified home is and how that certificate comes about. So for anybody that, wants to check that out, go to the IBHS, and then it'll kind of tell you about the certification for fortified home, and you can look that up and get whatever information and knowledge that you can gain.
Yep.
Thank you.
Well, Toni, thank you so much for having us today. I really enjoyed getting to hang out and chat a little bit. Really appreciate everything you've done for Altadena. As I said, was awesome to have you at the Build Expo, and you were just jumping in and rattling off answers to all the questions. So I know you're doing so much to help your community. For everybody who joined or who watches this later, thank you guys for listening. And again, we totally empathize with where you are. A lot of our team has gone through it ourselves, and it sucks, but I promise there is light on the horizon. If you're here and you're listening to this, you're already making steps in the right direction. And so Homebound's here. We're happy to help. If anybody needs anything, please jump to that wildfire recovery link and sign up, and somebody from our team will be in touch in 24 hours. And we look forward to rebuilding hundreds of houses in Altadena over the next few years and helping get the community back to what it was before.
Yeah, thank you so much. And again, Altadena Talks, there's 3 of us. I know the guys are in the background, but if it weren't for Brian kicking this off in the beginning and going live and stuff like that, we wouldn't exist. And we just keep pushing through because this is our community. And for us, like I said, it's a labor of love. I know you said thank you, but we wouldn't have it any other way. And so glad that I met you a couple weeks ago, and really glad that you all came on. Any parting words, Josh? I know you've been back there kind of in the cut, chilling and a little bit more quiet.
Yeah. This is actually my first day with Homebound, so it's a great way to kick things off.
You got initiated.
Yes, absolutely initiated. But, I couldn't be more excited to be a part of what's going on in Altadena. I think what's ahead of us is a tremendous responsibility to do this right, and I'm excited to help each and every one of our residents make that happen.
Well, I'll say, even though I'm not with Homebound, but welcome to Altadena and the Altadena Talks podcast. And super glad. I know that he said that you were a newer member, but didn't realize today was your first day. So good.
We have a pretty good knack at getting people to hang out with us for a few months before they start. So Josh has been working, but not really working for us.
Yeah, not official like today. Yeah, got it.
It's official today, though, and I'm excited.
Well, congratulations, and welcome into what you all are doing in Altadena. Hopefully, I'll see you all later, and would love to stay in touch. Told you, Ian, I need you guys to help support and sponsor this Thanksgiving thing we're doing. And then what I want to do is, as you all break ground on some of these homes, let us know, because we'll come out to those groundbreakings. We'll film them because we're trying to keep the information going and saying, this is when they started, this is when the people moved in, to really show what that timeline is like, and to show the build process so that people can see. So let's stay in contact and move forward with that as well. And again, thank you both for being here today. We'll let you go. We'll do, after you all are gone, we'll do our announcements and all of that. But really, really appreciate you all here and the additional information you gave.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, and look forward to staying in touch with you, Toni.
You're welcome. All right.
Bye.
Here. Bye, guys. And that's a wrap for the Homebound show today. But Brian and Jamal will jump in a minute. Brian got in and is settled, and he's in the background. Hi, Brian. Welcome. You maybe not be settled. I don't know. You're on mute, or I don't hear you if you're not on mute. But you guys know Brian. Perfect. You actually sound good and look good. You are not gargled like you're underwater, and you're not blurry and pixelated today. So congrats.
Because this is not my computer. I'm using someone else's.
You look great, though, man.
You look and sound great. Congrats.
Fabulous.
Yeah.
I hate my life. I went from a Mercedes to a Pinto.
Oh, well, the Pinto's working for you, bro.
Pinto is working just fine.
Pinto is working for you, bro. That
I got a Hemi engine in it. That's what. Hemi engine in the Pinto.
Cool. Well, I'm glad that Josh and Ian came on today. I didn't know Josh's first day was today, and we were kind of initiating him. But hey, what a better way than to be on Altadena Talks podcast on your first day. Super excited about that information from Homebound, especially about IBHS. And then when I looked at it, you can go to Fortified Home. If people can rebuild and get that certification that their home is fortified, that's dope, because the Pinto's making a comeback. Hey, with all the other retro cars these dealers are doing, Ford might come out with a Pinto.
Who you
might use them because they got a whole bunch of recalls right now and they're not doing so well.
Yeah, they need to put the Pinto engine in the front.
In the front.
I mean.
Well, no, it was the gas tank.
The gas tank underneath the seat instead of in the back. They showed on the, what's that called? The police academy or whatever. The detective, that one that come. They barely touched it. Bing, and it exploded.
Blowed up, right? Blew up. I said blowed up. Lord, where's my mouth and brain?
That's what you said. He got blowed up.
Got blowed up. Anywho, super glad that they came on. That was a great show, great information. And people can go and talk to them as they feel they need to.
Well, we were going through some.
Oh, that's the blowed up sound, Jamal?
Yeah, I'm just late. That's all.
That's fine.
I had this. Oh my God! So you know how I go through my routine when you guys are on. I go share it to the groups and share it to the people. For some unknown reason, the Altadena Talks Instagram and the Facebook and my Facebook and both all died halfway through the thing. So I'm like scrambling to go start it again and everything. I'm like, oh my God, this got finished. So
That is so funny.
But you know what? That's the beautiful thing about having three of us here, because each person is paying attention to something else. And when you see that, you go, oh, okay, that's my job. I know I can't pawn this off on nobody else. It's like, take evasive action.
Let me tell you, if you guys weren't on here, whatever would happen, because I would just be interviewing. I wouldn't know if anything crashed.
That's the whole point.
Right. I would just be like, now they got a laugh track and late on everything. The laugh track, the blow up.
Well, the laugh track was for what you just said. So that one was on time. Everything else was good.
Yeah, it would be a hot mess if it was just me. So always I tell you guys thank you. I appreciate it. We got announcements. Did you guys come on yesterday? Jamal's stuck for a second. Oh, okay.
No, I wasn't. I didn't.
Let's not talk about that.
Okay. No. It was just a question.
I was here. I was
okay,
here
good.
for 12 hours. It never happened.
Oh. And I knew I wasn't.
Should have
I was
just
like,
gone live and just said,
I was
hey,
like, it's Labor Day. I'm taking it.
Yeah.
No, I didn't mind. I was just going to show what we did over the weekend, but I could never get it finished because, like I said, I went from a Mercedes to a Pinto, and the Pinto's upload capabilities was so that didn't happen. We'll do it all tomorrow.
It's all good. We got through this one today.
That was good. Nice. That was a really, really good information, and they covered a lot. In
that hour.
Yeah, they covered a ton. And their website is really good, and the fact that they had that other program that they discussed as well, the Wildfire Prepared, that's really, really cool. All the stuff that's included with that is really nice. In fact, I found a slide that kind of covers, the stuff that's part of the plus.
Mm-hmm.
Let me share that real quick. So this is all the base information in the orange, but then the plus stuff is in blue, which is something he referred to. So, right. I mean, when people get a chance to see it, I think it'll be really good. It is all good.
Yeah, I did too. I think that would be amazing to take a look at.
Another option for people, you know what I mean? So people can actually really make some good decisions for themselves. What did Marcus say? Got to show that Pinto some love. You don't want to feel some kind of way and start acting accordingly.
And blowed up? No.
Oh, man. All right, I'll do the slides real quick.
Okay, cool beans.
Cool. Yeah. All right, so we're going to start with the Altadena Community Center. It is acting as a survivor support location located at 730 East Altadena Drive in Altadena. They are open Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Definitely check them out. If you have questions, you can reach out to 626-398-6174. And we also have the LA County One-Stop Permit Center, which is at 464 West Woodbury Road, Suite 210. They have their walk-in hours Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 4:30. And you can set up a consultation appointment, a rebuild consultation appointment. They're available Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 8:30 a.m. to 12:30 p.m., as well as Saturdays, 8 to noon. You can also set up an appointment with the Southern California Edison Planner. And those are available Monday and Wednesdays only from 8 a.m. to noon to To schedule the appointment, you go to the website recovery.lacounty.gov/rebuilding/1-stop-permit-centers. Then we move on to the fee waivers and refunds. So as we know, the county is waiving or refunding permit fees for homeowners rebuilding after the Eaton and Palisades fires. So homeowners who have already paid their permit fees they can have them refunded, and those who have yet to pay their fees, you can have them waived. To qualify for this, you do have to demonstrate that you both owned as well as lived in your property prior to the 7th of January of this year. And to be eligible, you do have to be replacing a single-family home that was destroyed by either the Eaton or Palisades fire, and this does include accessory units such as pools, ADUs, and garages, or anything similar to it. But it also includes standalone ADUs, which are designed for temporary occupancy during the rebuilding. What's not eligible is commercial properties, rental properties, multifamily, or temporary housing projects, or any property that was not damaged by the fires. In order to apply for the fee waiver or refund, you do have to fill out a form, and you can fill out the form or get the form by scanning the QR code or going to recovery.lacounty.gov/fee-waivers-and-refunds. When you fill this out, and it can be completed online, you can actually save it and attach it to an email. And the email you would send it to is recovery@planning.lacounty.gov, or you can print a hard copy and walk it into one of the one-stop permit center. And only one is necessary to cover all the departments, so that is very useful. Then, as usual, we have the Cal Assist Mortgage Fund. This is actually giving some relief, 3 months of mortgage payments up to a maximum of $20,000. The funds never have to be repaid, and it's free to apply. And if you do get the grant, the money is paid directly to your mortgage servicer. Now, if you do apply, in order to be eligible, your primary residence must have been destroyed or considered uninhabitable due to one of the fires at either Eaton or Palisades or any other qualified disaster from the 1st of January 2023 to the 8th of January of 2025. You also must have owned and occupied the home, and it can be up to 4 units on the property. And you also have to meet the income limits of a combined amount of $140,700. And if you do apply, you want to make sure that you're prepared to provide your mortgage statements, bank statements, utility bill, homeowner's insurance, or FEMA claim, in addition to a proof of income. When you do apply, you would go to the website calassistmortgagefund.org. If you need help, you can get help over the phone at 800-501-0019. That's Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m. Or if you need some help in person, you have a couple locations you can go to. One, if you're not in the Altadena area, but you're in LA, you can go to the One Stop Rebuilding Center at 1828 Sawtell Boulevard. Or again, you can go to the Altadena Community Center, 730 East Altadena Drive, and get in-person application help 9 a.m. to 5 p.m. Monday through Friday. And this is provided by Neighborhood Housing Services. Now, for every Monday and Tuesday, the folks at Harambe, in conjunction with Project Passion, are providing the Freedom Store. And this is going to be from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. each Monday and Tuesday, until they tell us that they're going to stop. And it's at Harambe, which is located at 1609 Navarro Street in Pasadena. Some of the items that are going to be provided are toiletries, home essentials, and much, much more. You do have to register, so you can scan the QR code, or you can go to tinyurl.com/Harambe Freedom Store and then register there. And as a reminder, there's the free medical and mental health clinic located at 1280 East Washington Boulevard in Pasadena. This is provided by the Eaton Health Village in partnership with the LA County Department of Mental Health and several other community organizations. You can walk in or come by to schedule an appointment. This is available every Monday and Wednesday from 12 p.m. to 5 p.m. For questions or to set up an appointment, you can also call at 951-595-7032. And LA Fire Justice does have regular ongoing events. For example, every Thursday morning at their office at 221 East Walnut Street in Suite 100, they actually have a coffee chat. Again, it's from 10 to 11 on Thursdays. It's where individuals can come chat about their current situation and talk with the folks at LA Justice. Later on that afternoon from 12 to 1, businesses can have the same conversations regarding the businesses. This is located at Pinocchio's Pizza at 1449 North Lake Avenue in Pasadena. Also, the first Monday of every month from 6 to 7 p.m. at their offices, again, which is 221 East Walnut Street, Suite 100. There's Mental Health Mondays where there'll be group sessions where you can discuss your mental health and share some of the things that are going on with you. So we also have September 6th. There's going to be a unveiling of the Community Resource Center for Alta Design Works. It's for survivors and from survivors. It's located at 409 Woodbury Road in Altadena. They will be having a special guest speaker. There'll be multiple. I believe this is one of them, Dr. Helena Hansen, professor and interim chair of psychiatry and biobehavioral sciences, David Giffen School of Medicine at UCLA. Go ahead and check that out. Again, September 6th. Doors open at 6:30. And we do want to continue to share about the Here Lay a Home exhibition located at the Armory Center for the Arts at 145 North Raymond Avenue in Pasadena. It began on the 25th of August and will continue through the 28th of September. The gallery hours are Fridays from 2 to 6 p.m., Saturdays and Sundays from 1 to 5, and they're available by appointment only on Thursdays. So you can give them a call. And we also have in conjunction, so NHS, so the Neighborhood Housing Services and Restore the Legacy LA Coalition, they're having a rebuild and recovery series of workshops. So the workshops are going to be on a couple different days. So at First Church of Nazarene, they're going to have one on Saturday, September 6th, and one on October 4th. It's going to be from 11 to 5 p.m. And the address of this church is 3700 East Sierra Madre Boulevard in Pasadena. There will also be one on Saturday, December 13th at Pasadena Presbyterian Church, also from 11 a.m. to 5 p.m. And this is at 585 East Colorado Boulevard in Pasadena. Now, there will also be a Legacy Summit at the Center of Hope, which will be at 9550 Crenshaw Boulevard in Inglewood. This is also going to include a rebuild and recovery workshop, and this will be from 10 a.m. to 1:30 p.m. Saturday, November 1st. Some of the items that are going to be covered are interim housing support, low-cost construction project management, technical support to select the general contractor or architect, mission-driven real estate services regarding buying, selling, or rebuilding your home, as well as estate planning and legal services at no charge. That's it for today. We'll be having more later on, in the week. This is kind of like a Monday, so we got everybody back on. But again, great show, Toni. Those folks from Homebound are really, have some great resources and should be definitely checked out by the folks who haven't made a decision about who they're going to utilize to build yet. You're muted.
I'm muted and I'm talking. No, cool beans. Yeah, it was good.
I just read the message in the private chat.
And I look forward to, yes, it is, Brian. And I know.
Look,
I looked at your face, Brian, in agreement with my laugh, but I was just like,
look, we are obligated to.
I had mine expanded, so I did not see either of your faces, so it was beautiful.
No, and that was perfect.
Yeah,
I am not against making announcements.
Hey.
I said I'm not against making announcements. Everybody deserves to. It's like you deserve a break today at McDonald's.
So
the old school slogan.
So what's happening mañana? It's way back Wednesday. Oh, I forgot tomorrow's Wednesday.
Tomorrow's Wednesday. We're doing Charlie Brown cartoons for way back Wednesday.
That's right. Yeah.
And whatever you want to discuss from yesterday, since it was a holiday, what you did over the weekend, we could do that too. Yeah. And then on Thursday, Veronica Jones, who is the president of the Altadena Historical Society, will be here with me to chat all about that. Next week, I'll be gone up north to after the Fire Summit. So if you guys want to get some folks or want me to get some folks for Tuesday and Thursday, you can. But I'll be up there. I don't know if I'll be able to go live or not because we'll be in meetings. But that following week, the 16th and 18th of September, will be an exciting week. We have Senator Sasha Renee Perez on September the 16th on episode 175. And then on episode 177, that Thursday, we will have Isabella Carabed. She is getting her doctorate in social work at USC. And she's one of the ladies, she called me the other day. And her capstone project, she has literally made this app, and she's going to talk about that and how people can be helped mentally, throughout this process, especially women in the workplace and, all of that. So we got some exciting stuff lined up for this month for certain. After the meeting tomorrow afternoon, I may have some additional info on Thursday regarding our event that's going to happen in November on the 22nd and potentially on October 25th, if I can get to park that day too. So
that should be really fun. Get folks together. Yeah, that should be really fun.
Yeah. Do we for sure have the 20th, Brian, of next month for State Corral? I think you said yes. You talked to the guys?
Was it the 20th? I thought it was the 20th.
That's a Saturday.
20th or 27th? Which one did you do? Yeah. We know it's Saturday.
I'll call him back after the holiday. He was busy.
Okay. So maybe by Friday.
That, and we should know by today.
Okay, because it's only another 3 weeks. Well, today's only the 2nd. So either the 20th or 27th, you all, and we'll have the QR code and all of that, probably sharing that as a flyer tomorrow. But we will be having the event at State Corral in Whittier, which is the longest standing original one. And we're going to shoot down there one Saturday. And for any Altadenian that grew up like we did in Altadena and would always go as a treat or whatever to State Corral, whether it was a Friday night or whenever our parents took us, we are going to have it there. Would love to see as many old school Altadenians there that want to go and celebrate and have a good time and just have community. So we will have more information on that and the other 2 events later this week for certain.
Where your cowboy hats at State Corral? We're going to be corralling some steaks. Yeehaw! Whoops!
Wow. That was special.
Yeah, I'm about to get the chuck wagon and go around there and let somebody get some
Hey, before we go, I just want to give my mom, Dr. Rosemary T. Smith, very happy birthday shout out today.
Woo-hoo!
Yeah. Where's the graphic, the song, something you slip in? Happy birthday.
I just do it this way. I do it all personal,
I know, but you right now, just like you did the laugh track earlier and all that, as soon as you said that, you should have had streamers or happy birthday.
He's just like, no, this is my mom.
I know. Like, dude, what is wrong?
In a couple days, so we're gonna do it all live and in person. Just want to give her that love.
But that takes our celebration for your mom away. I'm not okay with that.
Happy birthday. It's fine. Yeah, that's
Dang,
how I do.
Jamal.
That's
She probably watching shit going, yeah, Tony, tell him.
Right. We all have Mr.
She ain't
Smith
watching
at
right
some
now.
point at
I
Muir.
know she's
That's
not.
pretty janky.
She's
You
all
take
good.
that away from
Yeah,
us.
it was Jamal, because you know that's everybody's favorite teacher.
Exactly. Brian, can
They
you
can
bring up
say
the graphic
shout out.
real
They can
quick?
do all that stuff. It's all good.
Brian.
Look,
Jamal,
I
Mike,
could
this
not
is
said
mine
anything.
alone.
I could have not,
Brian.
which I traditionally do. I don't put anything on Facebook.
No,
I
he
keep that
doesn't.
between
That
she
is
and I.
true. That is true.
Okay,
I'm
but
the
now
one
you
that's
told
usually
us,
doing
and
it.
that was
just
one
say-
of the teachers we
Hey,
all
you
had, and
can-
we all wanted to at least put a streamer,
It's
banner,
done.
something.
It's over with.
And
It's
now
all
you're like,
good.
no. Brian, get something before
not
we
even
all go.
I did it my way.
Right. That's
You
what I'm
do
saying.
Tony, you do it your way. I do it my way. It's all good.
Dang,
Happy birthday, Mom.
you're raggedy. Well, I can tell you what, on the 10th,
That's
when it's
right,
Maggie
AD.
Baby's birthday, we're
AD.
going to have a big old celebration.
AD knows.
Happy birthday, Mrs. Smith. Dr. Smith.
Yeah. Mom.
Just took our choice away. What is wrong with you, Jamal? That's so janky.
There was no choice in there.
That's hilarious.
Absolutely none.
All right, y'all. Toodles.
Y'all gonna drive me to drink cranberry juice today.
Cleanse your kidneys, man.
You know what I'm saying?
You don't need to do all that. But anyway, everybody have a fantastic Tuesday.
Hold on, we got some more shout outs from the other platforms. We got Our Society. Happy birthday to your mom from the Sept family.
See?
Oh,
And let me see who else.
Thank you, thank you.
From the
I'll
shade.
Yeah.
make sure she watches it later. She'll be
Oh,
all
yeah.
good.
Yeah, just send her that part.
Yeah, her sister just she'll get a kick out of that little back and forth there. Her sister just pulled up. Auntie Angie just pulled up.
Oh, with her?
Yeah,
Or at her house?
to Vegas.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, she's bringing her out. Her and Pops out here on Friday for night.
Oh, when are they going back? Because you know I'm gonna be in Vegas from the 14th to the 20th.
That Monday. I'm driving them back on Monday, so I
Okay.
may not be there next Monday on the show.
Yeah, I'll be going live from Horseshoe.
Okay.
Are you guys enjoying our weather today? It feels like we're in the South.
For once.
Sunol. Yeah.
Dang.
We got clouds, but it literally feels like we're in New Orleans. It's hot and humid.
Yeah,
and
it
it's
is
like,
kinda
are we
muggy.
gonna
As
have
long as
thunder?
it stays behind the clouds, I'm cool. Because as soon as that sun comes out and it's humid, it makes it very unbearable.
Yeah, I got all my windows and stuff open. I'm like, yes, cross breeze, come on. So I don't have to turn my AC on.
I
But
ain't trusting to open
There
nothing
you
over here. These bugs be coming in trying to get away from the mugginess.
all right, y'all. I'm gonna slide back in and say toodles.
All right. Everybody have a fantastic Tuesday. Check you out tomorrow, way back Wednesday. I say peace. What you say, B?
Turn your volume down. Cause this
Yeah.
this
Say peace.
outro is la 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 la.
Oh,
Yeah,
here it comes.
it is.
You say peace?
Peace.